For the past 4 months, I have been trying out the digital nomad lifestyle and I have made a ton of mistakes. Okay, maybe not mistakes, but there are things that I wish I knew before getting started. Wow, there are so many mosquitoes. There have been some other people who have made a video on this topic, but I want to approach this video from the perspective of me being a beginner at digital nomading. So I feel like my mistakes and the things I wish I knew are really, really fresh. Biggest mistake was to bring my Canadian phone, which only has 1 SIM card slot. It was super annoying, and I wish I had gotten a phone with 2 SIM card slots or a phone that is compatible with eSIMs, because for a lot of things that I need to log into, like my accounts online, I need 2-factor authentication. So what I do is it would ask me to put in my password, then I have to do my 2-factor authentication on my Canadian phone number. So I would take out the local SIM card that I have, like in Vietnam or Malaysia, then I have to put in my Canadian SIM card, to restart the phone, wait for the code, which takes forever because I think it's just international, so it takes a long time to receive the text message, and then I'm gonna put in the code on my computer, then swap it back to the local SIM card. So next time I do this, I'm definitely gonna have a phone with 2 SIM cards or do eSIM. And just a little tip for those of you who have an earring, you can use the back of your earring to open up the thing on your phone to open up the SIM card slot. The next thing is, I wish I thought about luggage more carefully. I wish I had like a high quality checked-in suitcase. It's a long story, but I basically did not have the right suitcase when I came. Then I bought a new suitcase, but it was bad quality because I bought it from just a market, and then it broke, and then I actually paid for like an expensive one by American Tourister, who is owned by Samsonite, who apparently they have like some of the best suitcases in the world because they use this material called PPP, which is like polypropylene. I think there are other materials, but I don't know, I just heard that this material was really good, like it's unbreakable. So I invested in a expensive checked-in suitcase, and it has made my life so much easier, and I just have peace of mind knowing that like this luggage is not gonna break on me. And another thing is, like, right before I left for this trip, thank God my friend Wendy gave me her packing cubes. She let me borrow them, and they have been so useful for packing my clothes and making everything just smaller. The next thing I wish I knew was work-life balance is so hard. I know it's partly my fault. I think I came on this trip knowing that I had a deadline for the Southeast Asia part of my trip, and the deadline was me coming to Beijing, where I am now, and knowing that like I want to see my grandpa and my relatives as soon as possible because I haven't seen them in 3 years because of COVID and travel restrictions and everything. So that's why I basically squished everything all together, like the whole Southeast Asia part, and I was socializing a lot, I was meeting subscribers, I was basically trying to do everything, and my productivity, I would have to say, is it was 30 to 50% of what I was doing back in Canada, maybe closer to 30%, because I literally could only do the minimum. Like I could only upload 1 YouTube video. I did not have time to work on my Etsy shop. I didn't have time to do anything else. So next time I would definitely stay longer in each place, at least a month, so I can really settle down. But I don't regret what I did, because I think it's also good to try out a lot of different places all at once and figure out what place you like, because if I'm gonna spend a long time in one place, I want to know what my options are. So now I feel like I've kind of explored some of the options. I definitely did not go to like all the countries in Southeast Asia, but now I have a good idea of what Vietnam is like, Malaysia is like. I only went to Thailand for like 2 days, so I don't think it counts. I'll be back to Thailand. Next thing is, I wish I learned some of the language before going to the country. It just makes your life so much easier if you know words like food words, like common food, different kinds of meat, rice, noodle, some greetings like thank you, hello, and also where's the bathroom and can I get the check please. The next thing is about exchanging your money. So before I went to Vietnam, which was the first place I went to, I actually converted like $600 Canadian into Vietnamese dong. The thing is, when I got there, I realized that the exchange rate when you bring your home currency and then you convert it to Vietnamese dong in Vietnam, the exchange rate was actually a lot better than what it was in Canada. I don't know if this is for everywhere in the world, but in Vietnam, the exchange rate was definitely better than converting in Canada. So I would say you can get some cash in your home country for that new country, but then when you get to the country, use your home currency and try to exchange it for the new currency. Maybe it's better. Either it's the same or it's better. Okay, if you're wondering what I did after that, I actually did bring some more Canadian cash. So I brought maybe $1,000 more in Canadian cash, and then I would just just exchange that. And then when I ran out of the $1,000 Canadian dollars, I would just use my Canadian debit card to withdraw from ATM machines. And obviously there's gonna be a fee, like $10 or something, and then the currency fee. But like, I just don't wanna carry around like $5,000 in cash, you know, like I don't feel safe and comfortable doing that. So I'd rather pay the $10 fee or whatever fee there is to get cash whenever I need it. And whenever I withdraw cash, I try to get enough cash for like 1 month's use. Next thing is, do not buy souvenirs for friends right at the beginning of your trip. So for me, I bought a bag of coffee and some heavy cup coasters, thinking I would go back in a few months and it's kind of small, it's gonna be okay. But actually it just like takes up space in my luggage. And what I would do instead is, if I know I'm gonna go home, I would actually just buy things in the last country that I'm in before I go back to Canada. So my friends still get something nice from overseas and I save all the luggage space. The next thing is, I did not know that good Wi-Fi would be so hard to come across. For me, I'm thankful because I don't actually have to do that many Zoom meetings and stuff. I literally just need the Wi-Fi to upload my videos to YouTube and do general browsing, make my Etsy listings, and use the internet. So I don't need that great of a Wi-Fi, but a lot of the hotels that I stayed in and a lot of the Airbnbs, they had really bad Wi-Fi. So I would say if you really need good Wi-Fi for your work, look into co-working spaces or really make sure that the Airbnb you stay in has good Wi-Fi. Next thing is, if you are going to a place and you know locals who live there, before you book your accommodation for that place, ask your local friends if that's a good place to stay. Because for me, when I went to Kuala Lumpur, I stayed in like the center of KL, but it was like a sketchy street that I stayed on, and I should have like confirmed with my local friends before I went. Oh, another thing is, like, when you get your accommodation, make sure you book the ones where you can cancel, because your plans could change. That happened to me, and I did waste some money on accommodation that I couldn't cancel. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling super self-conscious because there's like a lot of people like walking around everywhere, and yeah. Okay, I'm almost done. Next thing is, get your routine down to some level. So for me, in the mornings, I really need to run, I really need to meditate, and I need to drink my green tea. So it's actually really hard to do, because for me in Canada, I would just go out of my house and go running in the park that is nearby. But in Southeast Asia, you can't just run on the street. It's like super crowded. And for me to go to a park, sometimes I would have to take a Grab car, which is basically like Uber. And so it was inconvenient for me to have my usual running routine. So now when I look for accommodation, I always see if there's like a running spot nearby. And why I think it's so important to have some of your routine to some extent when you are a digital nomad is because you feel a lot more grounded and you can settle in a lot faster, and then you can start to do your work. Because for me, I can't work if I just feel uneasy or unsettled. I have to feel grounded for me to be creative and do my work well. The next thing is, pack less clothes than you think you need, especially if you're going to a hot country. For me, I actually think I brought the right amount of clothes. I thought I wasn't bringing enough shorts. So when I went from Canada to Vietnam, I actually brought 2 pairs of shorts. I knew it was not going to be enough, but when I got to Vietnam, then I bought another 4 pairs of shorts. And it's so much better to have less clothes and then buy more when you're there than to bring way too much. And also sometimes I just want to go shopping and then like look for new things. And if you already have way too much clothes, then you don't really feel good about buying more clothes, and it takes up luggage space. So I hope these tips were helpful, and if you are gonna start digital nomading or you want to be a digital nomad, let me know in the comments what you are excited for and what you're working on right now, and if you have any other questions for me, because honestly I love this. It's so fun. And even for me, even though I've traveled a lot before, I've never been digital nomading, so I'm learning as I go and I'm just enjoying the journey along the way.